Hello, friends. Uh, Day four of the 30 days of celebrating you. Uh, so, just a reminder for people, or you know, backstory for people that are just joining us. This is 30 days of celebrating you, your proudest moments of achievement, uh, acknowledging yourself, reliving or celebrating um, the moment or moments, because it's 30 days where your light shine the brightest, and uh, you got that warm feeling inside from something that you achieved or accomplished, triumphed, you know, um, just to raise our vibration a little bit each day, and maybe help somebody else um, raise theirs also, right? We're all in this together, um, and the power of all is greater than the power of one. So, um, share in the comments, whatever it is, a moment um, that brought you to your light and where you shine the most um, in the comments, and then it'll be a placeholder so that after 30 days it's something that you can look back on and see if you do the 30 days in a row, or even if you don't, if you do 10, that's fine too, 5, whatever your number is. um, to see if you shine a little bit brighter at the end than you did at the beginning. That's the hope. And if not, that's okay. It's just a fun exercise in reliving our glory days or our glory moments. All right. So, day four. For me, uh, I've been a little sports heavy, so I'll change it up. Um, I work for a healthcare uh, facility in IT. And I remember, um, what I do is uh, I help doctors and nurses. Well, at the time, I help doctors and nurses use a computer system to document information in patients' charts. And so at the time, we were just uh, going live and taking each department up one by one. And so um, this one happened to be the oncology department. Oncology is like, for people that have cancer and stuff like that. Um, and um, my assignment was the infusion center. And so the infusion center is where people go when they get their treatments, like radiation treatments and stuff like that. Um, and also pregnant women will go there. Um, they'll get sent there by their OB/GYN. Um, if they're dehydrated, they can get rehydrated through an IV. Um, And so I remember when they gave me the assignment of infusion, they said that I would be there by myself, and I panicked. I really freaked out. I asked them to change me. I went to my boss and I said, respectfully, I would not, I would like a different assignment. And she said, why? And I said, because if I make a mistake, I could cost somebody their life. So, because, of the severity of the chemo drugs and everything like that, it's pretty powerful stuff. So, I didn't want that. Uh, I was afraid of that responsibility. So I asked, and they said I couldn't function in that environment where knowing the severity of what could happen if something went wrong because of bad information or bad teaching. And I just remember my manager said, "You were handpicked for this spot or for this job." Um, and, she appreciated um, my stance where I was coming from, but she said, "I'm not changing you um, unless you absolutely want me to." And I was like, I wanted to say, yes, I absolutely want you to change me, but there was something inside of me that said, just do it. And so I did it. I was there for 45 days in the infusion center, and it was the most amazing time. Uh, I don't want to say the most amazing time in my life, but it's very impactful. I will say that. Um, Working in the infusion center with all the nurses, um, it's just a big open room with a lot of chairs, people getting some kind of IV, whether it's their chemo drugs or if it was, just regular fluids because, like I said, pregnant women were dehydrated or something like that. Um, and so they all sat in chairs, and it was open, so you got to see everybody, unless they wanted a drape around them closed. You could close the drape. Um, what was interesting was learning because I was there every day. I got to see everybody, and so I knew a lot of the patients, the ones that were willing to talk or willing to say hi. And it was just an interesting situation where, you know, there, people are angry because they have cancer. People are sad or scared. Um, and being in that environment, um, and I wasn't into spirituality at that time. Um, but I knew like what could you do to comfort them even just a little bit, even for like the hour or 2 hours that they were there receiving their treatment. Some of them would just go to sleep, but some of them you could see the worry, you could feel the worry, and then so, sometimes for some patients, I would just talk to them and maybe get their mind off of something. For some people, they didn't want to really talk. Um, I would just sit by them. Um, what was also interesting was you're sitting in a room where with both ends of the spectrum. So there's people that are celebrating the beginning of a new life and some people at the end of theirs. And so it's uh it's kind of like, when you see people cry, it's tears, you know, the tears come down, but each tear has a different meaning. One person's crying because of life beginning, and the other person is crying of the end of theirs. It was very, very, very profound experience. I remember I'm kind of like I'm one of those people that will gag easy, and uh, I remember there was this one patient. She wasn't doing very well, and so I just sat next to her. Um, Luckily, the nurses were really good and they didn't need any help, but I did have to stay. So I just sat next to this lady one time, and then I remember she just said help. Because I wasn't really looking at her, but I was just sitting next to her, and she said help. And then she acted like, or she looked like she was going to throw up. So I got the bucket, I got a trash can, and I was holding the bucket while she threw up. And it was the worst smell. And the nurses told me, like right away, the nurses were like, oh, she had an abscess, I guess, and it ruptured in her stomach. And that's what that smell was because they knew what was going on right away. And I'm holding the bucket while she's throwing up, and I started gagging, but I didn't want to. Um, make her feel bad. So I just dropped my head and I was gagging. And it's just funny, like two people throwing up together at the same time. Um, but yeah, when I walked away from that experience, I was actually really proud of myself because I went through some, obviously, I went through something that I didn't want to go through. And I overcame that fear. Um, but it was learning about, it was going through it and learning or having the experience of seeing life, uh, the life cycle of, the beginning and the end, and then helping people or just being with people. And maybe, I guess I was sharing my energy with them to maybe uplift them. And I remember walking down the hall one day. It was after I was gone, and there was another lady that I used to just sit with and talk with, and she would crochet while she was getting her treatment. And she used to always call me Sunshine because I would smile all the time. Um, and so I saw her in the hall, and she said, "Hey, Sunshine." And then she said, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, hi." And then I'll never forget. She said, um, "I heard that your assignment changed, but I just want to say thank you to you." She wanted to say thank you to me uh, for being her sunshine for 2 hours. And I remember I just started whew, getting emotional again. Um, I started to get emotional, and she said, "You gave me more than." She said, "You gave to me more than you'll ever know, and thank you." And that was the last time I saw her. I don't know what happened to her after that, but it was a very rewarding experience. So that was one of the moments that I'm proud of, overcoming my fear and um, being there for people in their moment of need. Um, but that's all I got today. Uh, Remember, put your story in the comments. Uh, do the YouTubey things, like, share, and subscribe. Um, and I'll see you on day 5. Remember, angels fly because they take themselves lightly. See you, friends.